Here's wave number one. Wave number one is something called AI everywhere. AI stands for artificial intelligence. So we've all heard of artificial intelligence, but the impact it's already having on our life is quite profound. Here is, on the screen, artificial intelligence everywhere is not just the idea of it just showing up, it's the idea of it being absolutely everywhere. On the screen here is an image of Watson, who's the one in the middle, a computer created by IBM. IBM got criticized when they created Deep Blue to beat Kasparov at chess, because they said it's just a number crunching machine. It just kind of like is pattern recognition and it's just working through the options to be able to beat someone at chess. And they said, no, we think we can do better than that. So if you think that this machine is just about going out and number crunching, let's go and compete on Jeopardy. So everyone here heard of Jeopardy in the States, right? So Jeopardy it's almost like a very cryptic crossword, the way that they ask the questions. You've got to read between the lines to know what really is being asked, and then have a pretty good library of knowledge to go and figure out what the answer is. So they actually worked out exactly how they could have a computer actually understand meaning, read between the lines just like a human does, and then come up with the right answer. And what happened was Watson, who is the name of the computer in the middle, beat these two guys who are the top international stars of Jeopardy, who have won millions of dollars on it. Ken Jennings there on the left is the top in the world, and he got thrashed by Watson. And afterwards, he says, I don't think that I will be the last profession, as in game show contestants, the last profession to be taken out of business by Watson. And sure enough, Watson then got a job in the medical industry after that, where he was able to diagnose ailments that patients had far better than any doctor could. And since then, he just, and this just came out this last 2 weeks, he just got a job on Wall Street, where Citibank has hired him. And as it says, he expects to generate billions by 2015 by working on analyzing trends on the stock market and deciding what to buy, what to sell. Anyone here who's stock market trading, you probably know already, over 70% of all trades on the stock market already are conducted by computers. So that's who you're up against. And that is just continuing to accelerate and grow when you've got someone like Watson here. As it says down the bottom, Manoj Saxena, who is the man responsible for finding Watson work, says that they're confident that with a little training, the quiz show star that can read and understand 200 million pages in 3 seconds can make money for IBM by helping financial firms identify risk, rewards, and customer wants in ways that mere humans cannot. So this is what we're up against. If you think it's just a younger generation that we're going to be competing for jobs, it's actually the likes of Watson we're really in competition with. So here is artificial intelligence, which is the concept that a computer is able to mimic a human in the way that we're able to rationalize and potentially even in the future, even express emotions, but more importantly, understand what's required. I told a joke this time last year where I said that this will come in the way that our iPhone eventually starts talking to us. And I said that our biggest anxiety in the future, as our iPhone starts to create a relationship with us, is whether our iPhone actually likes other iPhones more than it likes us. But within 6 months of that, out comes Siri. And Siri already, even though it understands American accents more than Australian at this point, there's no question that it is now at the level where, with the copycats showing up and where we're at the level where we are going to be speaking to our computers and touching our computers a whole lot more than we're going to be typing on a keyboard in the coming years. And we're going to expect that the computer is going to be able to figure out things for us immediately. Right now, my children, when they're looking for any answer to anything at school, they don't basically go and start Googling it to look at some text. They'll go and watch a video on something that was of interest to them, or they'll use something like Khan Academy, which then recommends what they should watch next. And similarly, we now are out there using things like Amazon.com and others, where we expect that they are going to be providing us with far better recommendations of what we should read than we could get if we just go into a bookstore. And that's the big, big shift that's happening right now. It's an implication which won't be lost on you if you're finding it tougher to get business today. That there was a time when you could say, there's a benefit to being small, and I can compete with people who are big because small is more personal. I can know the people that come into my corner store. I can know the people that I'm personally coaching or training. But the big companies, that's impersonal. You know, going to a supermarket, they won't know your name. They won't be able to tell you much about yourself. This is all turned on its head now. And the reason it's turned on its head is not just because the big are big. It's because they have invested in something really critical, which is called customer intimacy, which means that Amazon.com knows more about you and what you want to read than even you know. which means you can actually go to Amazon and says, here's the next thing you should read. Or you can go to Netflix and say, here's the next thing you should watch. Or you can go into Facebook and say, here's the ad we think you'd be most interested in. And you go, oh, that is interesting, and you click on it. Facebook ads in the last year have overtaken Google ads as a far more effective way for you to be able to target customers, because Facebook knows much more about its customers and their habits. So it's not just about what you're searching for, it's what you might want to search for, and as a result then gives you something appropriate. That's artificial intelligence, because it's reading between the lines as to what it is you might want. Customer intimacy is based on two different things. It's not just about data. Data is an important part. So what you'll find is that we will go to Amazon.com and we'll say, thank you for telling me what I want to read, because I'm not looking for information. Information is where we say, I don't have enough information. We're now living in a world where there's too much information. So we don't want information. We don't want the whole map. Don't tell us 1,000 things that we could read. Just give us the 5 things that actually are going to be best for us. Not information, but direction. So if you right now are providing lots of information to your customers and not enough direction because you don't know enough about your customers, there's nothing more annoying today than basically getting an email from somebody asking us to buy something that we just bought from them last month. It's like, why wouldn't they know we bought that from them? So our threshold of actually saying it's okay for you not to know has gone down. We're like, you should know that by now. You should know me. And so because we expect that of the likes of Amazon, why would we go to Borders and go rifling through all of the different books to try and find what we want, and then have to pay for the storage and have to pay for the delivery cost for that book to even be on that shelf for us to look at, when we can go straight onto Amazon and get something at half price, and it's exactly what we need. That's why the likes of Borders have gone out of business. And it's why you will also go out of business if you're not ensuring that you are building customer intimacy. It comes down to two things. One is this concept of customer intelligence, which is data. So when we created customer intelligence, when we created our Wealth Dynamics test, I just saw it as a product that was of value to people. I now see it as one of the most valuable customer intelligence tools we have, because when someone takes the test and they come out a creator, we can now recommend things that are relevant to them that wouldn't be relevant to someone who's a trader, for example. And in the past, we didn't have that level of information, and most other training companies don't. We do, and we'll ensure we keep on having more and more assessments, and people are willing to have those assessments because they want to tell you more about themselves so that you can provide even better direction to them. Customer intelligence is one side. It's on the left-hand side of the square, which is multiply. There's a magnify as well, which is customer care, which is not just about having data, because the government has a lot of data, but they don't care as much as some of the companies that have less data, but they have customer care, which means they actually care about the customer and they want to ensure that the customer's experience is being enhanced by working with you. So this is fundamental, because it means artificial intelligence has changed the habits of all of us and what we expect and what we want. There is now a number of different platforms that you will know of: Amazon.com, iTunes, Google Play just came out 2 weeks ago. What is Google Play? It's where Google has realized that the likes of something like iTunes, where you go to one place and you say, look, I'll give you all my data, and then I'll use my Genius Bar, and you tell me what kind of music I want to read. They realize they've got this data, but they haven't been using it intelligently. So if you go and look at Google Play today, it's now the equivalent of iTunes, where they will have music, they'll have their videos, they'll have books, they'll have all those same things in one place, and more importantly, they have a payment gateway, which means that you can go in and pay for everything in one spot, just like you can with iTunes. So now, number one impact is that bigger actually means more personal, because you're collecting in the right way, and so you need to be collecting that. Middlemen advisors are dead. Think about travel. Think about whether you've gone traveling in the last couple of years and you have used online systems to be able to book your travel. Hands up who's done that. You've used something online. Okay, interesting, isn't it? You know, there was a time when we used to have to go to a travel agent, and when we went to a travel agent, they'd have to go and package it all for us. We don't want that anymore. So really important, this shift that's taken place. And the third thing is the difference of market share and a shared market. In order for us to be more intelligent than a computer being artificially intelligent, the only way for us to do that is to niche down into a particular area where we can be the expert in that area. So if you haven't done that and you're trying to go out to be too many people, too many things for too many people, no question that the whole thing will collapse around you as others do a smarter job delivering to that market. And so this is all about customer intimacy. And I want to give you an example of how you can do this if you're not doing this yet. Social media. A lot of people talk about social media marketing. This is my Twitter account. So a lot of people would say, oh, you get a Twitter, get a Facebook, go out there and market yourself. Absolutely not. I think it's the opposite. I think this is the very, very best way for you to actually be able to create expertise in who you are. So how do I use my Twitter account? I've got about 40,000 people following me. I follow about 40,000 people. But if I just looked at the list of all the things they're posting, it's not that helpful to me. So I create my own lists where, for example, something like Fast Forward, I'm interested in all the latest things going on. So I have about 100 people on my Fast Forward list who are the top people in the world that I found that are always posting about the very, very latest things going on that you won't even find in the news. And I collect all that, and that's what I'll go look at every day, and that becomes my newsfeed. Even more so, I use this thing here called Pulse, which I'm sure many of you use as well. So Pulse is, I think, the best app at actually integrating all of the different tools that you may be interested in. I happen to look at things like the future, so I've got all of the top media spots where I can immediately, at one glance, sitting over breakfast, within 5 minutes, know all the things in the world related to that. You know, if your specialty was cupcakes, you would be able to do exactly the same, and every day know exactly what was the latest that had happened around the world, and that makes you an expert from that day onwards. Because most of us aren't doing this, what we're doing is we're making a key distinction, which is super important here, key distinction between having an expert who is a teaching teacher. There was a time in the past where you could actually be an expert at something and say, I learned things, so I got a PhD in it. Like a doctor, middleman, a doctor, a lawyer is a teaching teacher. It says, I learned this stuff, so now I can impart it and I'll charge you by the hour for it. They're all going to be replaced by the likes of Watson. And so if you've got a child at the moment who's going in for something where they're going to be a teaching teacher, where they're getting a degree in something to prove that they know things, they're going to be taken out of business for sure. However, there's a difference of a teaching teacher and someone called a leading learner, where they are constantly learning new things. So today, the things I'm sharing with you are not things I learned when I was at university, they're things I learned yesterday, because I'm constantly learning new things. And when you're in this space, people want to ride the wave with you. And so it's so important to shift from this focus to this focus, and to be able to ensure that what you're really giving of value is current and is there today, as opposed to something which you're relying on from the past. We're going to see as we go through this, this means that even your products and what you generate will be changing massively all the time, which means if you've got a product today, which is the same product that you were selling a year ago, it's time to upgrade. Because there's not a single popular product out there, including the iPad and the iPhone and pretty much any technology piece, which hasn't already upgraded in the last year, so it's an entirely new product that's already made last year's product redundant. And even if you're in a coaching or training company, shifting and changing your product is essential, because everyone's looking for the latest thing. And there's simple ways to do it, but the most important thing is not to be relying on the past. So how do we do all this in a way that it actually becomes manageable? Well, there's this site that I use, which is called Paper.ly, and Paper.ly allows me to take my entire Twitter feed, which is on all my fast forward people that I watch, and it actually turns it into an email and a newsletter that I get every day into my email. So Paper.ly is, some of you will be using it already. It's just paper.li. And if you go there, it just allows you to link any Twitter feed you have directly into a newsletter that you can then basically have. And you can see here, I set this up a year ago. It's had 74,000 tweets already from this. So that means that there's thousands of people that have decided what I'm following is what they want to follow, which means I've effectively got an automated newspaper of what I'm reading every day that then gets read by 74,000 other people around the world every day as well. So it allows you to always be at the current leading edge of whatever your industry is or whatever your niche is. And if you're not doing something like this, then every day you're getting left behind. Oh, by the way, can I see a show of hands of people here who currently have a phone that links to the internet right now? Phone links to the internet? Okay. Okay, and hands up who has also a phone that links to the internet and a Twitter account. Can I see a show of hands? Twitter account. Okay, not so many, but still some people here. If you put your hand up, could you take your phone out at the moment? Do you remember the old days where you were told to turn your phone off when you came to a seminar? Okay, I'm telling you to turn your phone on. Because what I'm going to do is give you a very, very simple way, if you happen to have an account, like a Twitter account, that when you come to an event like this, you're able to fast forward your connections to other people. So if you have your phone out and you go to your Twitter account and you basically just tweet using that hashtag, FFYB2012. So you can put anything in there like, hi, I'm at the Fast Forward event in Perth, or whatever you want to say, and then just basically put in that hashtag at the end, just FFYB2012, then obviously what that will mean is that when you then go to your Twitter in the next 10 minutes and you just go and search for FFYB2012, not only will your tweet come up, but so will all the tweets of everyone else in this room who happen to tweet as well, and you'll be able to go and look at who they are, what their background is, know they're in the room, and seek them out to meet them sometime today if they're of interest to you. So your speed with which you can connect to all the right people accelerates massively in a way it wouldn't if you had to go and meet everyone one by one to figure out who they are and what they do. All right, so you can do that, and if you want to keep on tweeting for the day and anything you have, go and do that too. We're going to be live streaming some of today, and there's people around the world who are going to be in here watching what's happening in Perth as well. So let them know what's happening as we go through as well. This is our first wave. And there's a lot of information to take in. But in summary, this is about how we are able to be more intelligent, given that artificial intelligence is making us all want already to have far more intelligent information on people knowing who we are. What could you already do in your business to make that difference?